And the Knicks season continues. The Knicks series against the Sixers continue in one of the epic collapses that you will see. The Knicks gave it back. It was in their hands. It was in their hands in overtime. They gave it back again. And all of a sudden, tomorrow in Philly becomes a very, very important game as the Sixers try to even up the series at 3 games apiece. So many things to dissect. So much to ground into a fine powder, as Don likes to say. But all in all, the Knicks gave it away. But before everybody goes nuts, this is a game the Knicks won in Game 2. Same game. So they stole one in Game 2, and they got one stolen from them in Game 5. And we are where we are.
But you can't let it happen when you've got a chance to clinch at home for the first time in 25 years. The building is going crazy, and the way it's handled is just not good. Now, I think they're still fine because I think they're the better team. They want it more, and you're going to see that. But now you might find yourself having to go to 7 games. Now you might see the fact that you're down to a 7-man rotation now. With Bogdanovich out, you're down to a 7-man rotation, and there's so much to dissect, and we're going to do it all day today. But, Michael, did they choke it away? Did the Sixers finally show some cubes? Or was this a tired team that couldn't close out a game that they needed to get?
I think they choked it away.
Because the guys that missed the free throws are the guys that are on the court the whole game. Like, do you think that they just got tired?
No. Okay. First of all, we want to hear from you. I want to hear the emotion that I felt. So call us. We'll talk about it all day long with you. However, I don't want to do I told you so radio. But Don, you sort of vehemently disagreed with me about the scariness of the spot up 3-1 at home. And late in that game yesterday, the Knicks never... Well, I'll say this. I agree with Michael. They did choke it away. That said, they never came close, in my opinion, to completely putting this team away. They never took that step to where you went, oh, I'm really breathing easy. It just felt good, right? It felt like they were going to win the game. But they never got that sizable lead because these teams are very evenly matched talent-wise. And we all, or not necessarily me, many people believed the Sixers didn't have a heart, and late in a game like yesterday, they would fold. And guess what? I think they may have been right for 90% of that team. But there was this one guy, Tyrese Maxey, who did not get the memo about folding. And Michael, it was a combination of Larry Johnson and Reggie Miller. The 4-point play and the 8 points in 16 seconds. Maxey, no matter what we talk about the Knicks choking, how much they choked it away, Maxey was unbelievable. And in the end, you miss some free throws. He pulls up for a logo 3. We can debate whether you foul there or not. And here we are.
Well, there's so many things that you could say went wrong. I think the biggest thing that went wrong that gave the Sixers hope was Mitchell Robinson's foolish foul that turned into the 4-point play. You're up by 6. If he hits the 3, you're up by 3. Instead, he tries to contest a long 3 and fouls him, and it becomes then a 2-point game. And I'm telling you, the entire tenor of the game changed at that point. That is just a stupid foul. Even Mitchell Robinson said it was stupid. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Josh Hart has not been a dead-eye shooter from the free throw line all year. He hits that second free throw. We're sitting here talking about the Knicks getting ready to play either the Bucks or the Pacers. Because it went great for the Knicks in that sense. The Bucks, shorthanded, ended up beating the Pacers, so they're going to be worn out too. But the Knicks will be worn out now if they get out of this series.
You're so right, though, Michael, and this is why there's so many different mistakes to point at. Josh Hart hits that free throw late to make it 4. Then you give Maxey the logo 3. He hits it and cuts it to 1. Now they got to start fouling you. It's a whole different game. It's just, and then the other piece we have to talk about. As great as Jalen Brunson has been all year long, did we want him taking essentially every shot in overtime? Did we want to play nothing but ISO ball? And one of the things that makes this team good, guys, is the different options they have and when they move the ball around. Late in that game, it was literally bring up the ball. Jalen Brunson brings up the ball, goes to the right wing, hangs out, dribbles around, shoots a 3.
But that's what he did in Game 4, Peter.
And it's not going to work every time.
But he has to do it because there's not a legitimate scorer next to him. That's why they miss Julius Randle so much. DiVincenzo could be hot a game, and then he could be 3 for 17. Hart could be hot, and then it could just go away. And they don't have a legitimate second scorer, so he is the guy. And then you have to hope that somebody else gets hot with their three-point shooting. That's the Knicks offense right now.
Right.
And the loss of Bogdanovich, you can't say, okay, we're going with a 7-man rotation. You can't do it. Somehow, you got to get Burks right.
Well, yeah. Why Achua can't play more, I'm not sure why either. But you can't go 7. But whatever it is, guys, you had a 6-point lead with 30 seconds to go. So everything was working, and then it completely collapsed. Why? Like you're saying they choked it away. Why do they choke it away? I mean, they've shown composure all year. Like the pushback on what Peter was saying about, that I told you so. I just didn't think it was I didn't think these two teams are capable of doing what they did at the end of the game last night. Like I didn't think the Knicks were capable of losing focus and choking it away or getting tired, whatever the reason was for what happened in those final 28 seconds happening. I didn't think they had it in them, and I didn't think the Sixers had it in them. I thought the Sixers were going there for a slaughter. It's over. You're done. And for the most part, that seemed to be the case. I mean, Embiid was shot. I mean, he had the migraine. Looked like he was a shell of himself. I mean, it was all right there, back and forth, because the Sixers still have talent. They still have good players. But how do you get to the point when you've been what you've been all year long, the way you've been coached, the way you've been clutch, the way you can handle every situation that's been thrown at you, every piece of adversity that's been thrown at you all year, you kick it aside like a great goaltender, and then all of a sudden with a chance to do something you've never done in 25 years, that's when you choke it away? That's when it comes apart? And a Sixer team that was just ready to go, you let them back in?
Well, if you remember yesterday's show, Don, I thought the Sixers was going to show up yesterday. I didn't say they were going to win, but 4.5 did not seem like a weird number to me. I thought the Sixers were going to play hard, and I think we can move away now from the narrative that we've been talking about, that the Knicks want it more than the Sixers. They play harder. The Sixers played really hard yesterday. Maxey played out of his mind. You can see Embiid is not right. He almost had a quadruple double with 9 turnovers. But he plowed through. They want it.
But it really should not have been enough. Can we agree on that? The effort and everything the Sixers did last night should not have been enough. The Knicks lost this game. They lost it. They opened the door, and all the Sixers did was walk into the opportunity. Listen, it was a great 3. But why did that happen? Because of the missed foul shots. It never should have come down to that. And it wasn't just at the end of the game. They were missing foul shots all night. Brunson was missing foul shots.
I'd give a little more. I'd give a little more credit to Maxey. Like, yes, they did give it away. They could have shut the door. But we do have to say that's an unbelievable performance.
No question. But there should not have been a 4-point play, Peter. You can't have that happen. I think we could all agree the Sixers are good enough to take advantage of that kind of glorious opportunity. See, I don't want to take anything away from the Sixers, guys, but for everything we're talking about, they had it. It was theirs. It was in their possession. And to go back to what happened in Game 2, Michael, where the Sixers let it squander away, let's be honest, and even the NBA admitted they got an assist from the officials.
Yep.
Well, there was no assist last night. The Knicks did it all themselves.
Now,
they opened that door up, and the Sixers, give them credit, they took advantage of it, but it was an advantage that never should have been given to them in the first place.
Now, I understand the ebb and flow of a short series, so Knicks fans are really feeling down right now. I still think you're winning the series. You just made it a little bit more complicated. Go down to Philly and beat them. And if you don't, well, then that's what you play all season for, to get home court advantage, and then win Game 7 on Saturday at the Garden. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. They can't let this define them, because I will tell you all this. If they lose this series, yesterday's game will go down as one of the low points in the history of the New York Knicks.
It sure will.
It'll be you can't forget that thing, ever. Like Dave Roberts' steal that gave the Red Sox that first win. This would be along those lines. Now, this is not a series that will take you to the finals like the Dave Roberts steal did, but this will be the defining the low-defining moment. This will be something they will never forget.
And maybe it's something that we'll look back at and say it was a good thing, because maybe it'll galvanize them even more that it happened at a time where there was a margin for error, so it won't happen, in a possible elimination game where they can't get up from it. I think any team that's going to make a run has to face some sort of adversity, and maybe this will end up being a good thing. And I do still think they're going to win this series, Michael. I do. But I do think it does affect them if they go from we could have finished this up in 5 to now we got to play a game 7 in a Garden that will be into it, but also a nervous energy that sometimes kind of quiets a crowd, that even if you come out from under it, did you really have to play those extra 2 games when you're trying to make a run? They caught the break last night that the Bucks won, but that series still could be over before the Knicks-Sixers series is over. Do you really want to put yourself through that? And now I think they'll overcome it, but there still has to be a feeling inside you like, well, I didn't think what happened last night was capable of happening. And now it's there as a possibility. You had your foot on their throat, and you just don't want to have it slide off and then not be able to get it back on there again.
The thing that will be a concern, now I don't think it was yesterday, Don hinted that he thought it might. The more games you play, and Hart's playing 53 minutes in an overtime game, and Brunson, you can't survive with a 7-man rotation. You can't. You just can't. Because even if you don't get tired physically, I mean, the mental drain to not sit down and just take it all in for a moment, that's a big deal. Now, we'll get to your phone calls in a moment. Let's break down the fouling up 3. Because everybody, it's an easy layup when the guy hits the 3. Why didn't you foul? But it's not an easy foul. And that's why not every coach does it. Because if you foul when he's in the act of shooting, which he was doing as he crossed the midcourt line, well, then it's 3 shots. So what did you stop? I mean, it takes an art to really be able to foul at the right time. Now, you got to give the guy credit, too. It wasn't an easy shot. It was from the New York Knicks logo at half court. It was an animalistic, beast-like shot. Anybody out there actually think that they did the right thing and not foul? Now, Tibbs said he wanted him to foul, but he said the communication wasn't good enough.
Well, that's not good.
No, it wasn't. It's a bad look for everybody. And the worst look is for Hart. If he hits that shot, we're sitting here like celebrating. One other thing, and I don't know if Don and Peter agree with me with this. Playing against the Knicks, playing against their cause, is the cockiness of everybody involved. I love Clyde Frazier. But, on the broadcast saying we're going to party like it's 1999. The game wasn't even over.
How's that any different than the Sixer announcers that went virally?
Awful. We ripped them, didn't we?
We ripped them for being, like a podunk kind of local homerism. How is that any different?
It's not. It's a bad look. And the Knicks fans, overly confident. Listen, celebrate. Be happy about how far your team has come in the last couple of years. But don't be cocky. You've done nothing. You've done nothing to be cocky. Take the victories and celebrate as they come. But, boy, talking tough and, you went into Philly. You took over Philly. I get it. But you haven't won anything yet. You celebrate after you win, not before you win. You don't think that whether you believe in bulletin board fodder or not, that stuff is spoken about in the Sixer locker room. We'll show them. You got to stop. Celebrate each victory, but don't put yourself in the NBA Finals yet.
Well, and then this is the other thing, too, and maybe they'll win it in Philly in Game 6, but, for all those people like the Dave Rothenbergs of the world, they're going to roll over Philly. Well, now you're not. I wouldn't consider this rolling over Philly, that you got to play a Game 6.
No, this is not rolling over anything.
And you'll be a dog in Game 6, by the way, and now I might have to go 7 with this team.
Do you now hear me, though, from the other day?
I hear you.
This is a nightmare scenario now.
But I will tell you, I was wrong. I didn't think it could happen on both ends. I didn't think the Knicks could let it happen, and I didn't think the Sixers had it in them. And that maybe that's the scariest thing of all. If you want to shake it off and say, okay, Knicks just had a bad 28 seconds. It can happen. Let's just shake it off. This team's been able to shake it off all year. We'll win Game 6, no problem. But for all the people, myself included, that felt like the Sixer team had no guts, the whole process, they were fantasizing about the golf course, they didn't have the cubes to get it done. Look what happened yesterday. So I guess at least I was wrong. So now to think that the Sixers are going to fold up shop now?
No.
Now you've made them even stronger. You made them believe. Because you know what? Embiid wasn't right. He had the migraine. He was a game-time decision. He was a shell of himself. What if he's on his game in Game 6?
Prediction. Not as many Sixers fans are going to sell their tickets tomorrow night.
Did you see the secondary market? The price are through the roof. So the theory that the other guy had earlier this week is, they've given up on the team.
No.
And no. You're going to have to pay. If you want to get in the building, you're going to have to pay through the nose because now
their
fan base now believes.
Well, and I think that their fan base will feel obligated to try to prove people wrong, though. I think that people are going to show up on account of we're not going to have the entire league say that we're a joke. Now, here's what it says. Apparently, purchases for Game 6 of Knicks Sixers so far. Now, you know where this is from, though? Which purchases these are? Are these all secondary market? From Tick Picks, but I don't know what that means in terms of the overall marketplace. But it says 34% from Pennsylvania, 7% from Delaware. So we'll give all 41%. That whole 41% we'll give to Philly. 18% from New Jersey, Don. I'll probably split those, Philly and New York.
Yeah.
So now they're up to 50%. And then 24% of the tickets purchased from New York. So Knicks fans are finding a way into the building.
No, they'll get in. But they're not going to be able to take it over if you lose.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to take over this building in the same way that they did. If they will,
they'll try. Awesome. I mean, Knicks fans are amazing, but you woke them up.
Well, the Knicks.
Now, maybe that won't matter, Michael. But you woke them up.
The Knicks went from minus 1,000 to win the series to minus 390. That one loss.